Hey, what's up? I believe your name's Giovanni. So yeah, basically, I'm sorry, but I did already start this thing up. I was ready to head out and do some errands, so it's not a true cold start where I don't know what temperature, about 30 something degrees maybe. High wind chills here. We live on a farm. It starts right up. It does have a little thicker oil in it, so it's like kind of kicks in and all the injectors and stuff. But the globe is doing what it's supposed to. Starting it up. As you can see, the temperature is up there now. So again, not a true cold start in the wintertime. The heater, block heater, does not work. That was plugged into the 2020 volt. It was a 110 outlet that wasn't marked, and that fried it. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else in the car. As you know, they're not really connected. It's its own entity. That was about 2 years ago, and it's running now. In the cabin, you can hear that it it revs up really nice. You want to hear the turbo a little bit. And it's smoking. It was not smoking the other day. I had put the Mary's or mystery oil in it, and it seemed to work, and then I had to put another thing of oil in it. Like I said, when I'm using the Kendall, it does seem to not burn oil. Until, oh yeah, it's 38 degrees out. My goodness. Oh boy. So yeah, I'll do a walk around. As far as interior goes, this car hasn't been clean in quite some time. The chairs on the seat, I got all season mats. They're Subarus. I got them in a thrift store. I do have the exhaust pieces if you would be interested in the resonator, which, just so you know, I don't know if you ever took one of them off, but they go down to about 1-inch outlet. Okay, and then the muffler, and it did get better fuel mileage when I had just the muffler off. My dogs are gonna bark, I'm sorry. So that's the front. It hasn't been clean in quite some time. And in the back, unfortunately, I do have child seats in it. I guarantee you these seats are perfect. These back seats are perfect, just like most of them. It's very clean. The panel on this is off, and it's in the front here. I need to just put it back on. And the back of this isn't bad, but this side, I'll have to go on the other side to show you, is bad. I was trying to do something with it. So here we are. This is going to be, now the guy hit me. He must have been doing 20 miles an hour. And he flew into me and bounced off me in a Firebird. I replaced the tail light. My next thing was to replace this. I took off the lens, and I did hammer this out. And again, when something fits in there, it's going to look perfectly fine. All happened with the bumper was a scuff, and that bumper is obviously not factory. I painted it, and it looks amazing. It looks amazing. It matches amazing. It's smooth as anything. But I will show you the thing I was trying to rig here. It's kind of yucky looking. I was going to just stick some fabric and stretch over it. I just don't have time. I don't have time. Other than that, when this car's cleaned up, I mean, honestly, we get those snobby looks we get because we have a Mercedes. The brake calibers, not that it's important, but they're pretty cool. It's like a rusty metallic color. As you can hear, the engine it sounds the way it should. As far as the block heater, I stick a little kerosene in the winter. It starts right up. I start this thing up in the teens with no problem. I usually put it in my garage. I don't know what else to say. It hasn't been washed. I usually keep this thing a lot cleaner. It's really tough. I'll show you the lights, I guess. All the lights work. The tail light that got hit is working great, other than I don't know if you ever experienced it. tend to need to be bent around a little bit, and they kind of short out, and the flasher acts funny one day and one day it doesn't. You hit one bump. That is very fixable. All the wiring harnesses on that note are great. I know they're biodegradable or something. The one in the engine is great. The that is not a scratch. That is just dirt. That was one of my next things. I was actually thinking of going with a polished metal. I found some really good paint. I'm restoring a tractor, and yeah, so it sounds amazing. When you get up in high speeds, you can hardly feel or hear the engine. And you know, my attitude was I never felt the diesel when I first started this thing up and drove it 4 years ago, that the diesel fits this car. And what I was trying to do was basically make the engine fit the car a little bit more and make the car fit the engine a little more. When I straight piped it around here in the country, I get a lot of respect from the truckers. This thing screams. I know, you know, the passing gear on these things are pretty amazing for diesels. They don't usually rev as well with other cars. I'm going to lift this open. Hold on. Alright, so you've probably seen a picture of the engine. This black stuff is from the hang. That thing's kind of hanging. It's not bad. It never falls off, but it gets like a muck on it. And the belt is about 4 years old. I was told it'd get 100,000 miles on them. The only thing I ever replaced on this car is the battery, which is very new. Over the summer, I got another battery. It's a big Napa, and it's the strongest one in that category. The alternator was replaced when I got it. When I got it, the little battery light would flicker on here and there. I changed the alternator. It's got a lifetime guarantee from Napa. I still have the receipt. And I changed the belt. The belt on us, I just bought it, and because it wasn't a gasser, I didn't go through my normal protocol. This is my first diesel. Whenever I get a gasser, all the rubber, the hoses, the belts, the wires, the plugs, everything gets changed. Well, I got a little whatever. Oh, it's a Mercedes. And the belt on me snapped and literally hit the transmission line and made it bleed out transmission fluid, so we were stuck. I put fluid back in after everything was fixed, and it's fine. The oil heater on this, so the oil cooler, is bypassed. That was starting to give me problems, like they always do, because it's aluminum threads and the steel nuts. So I just bypassed that, in all honesty. And really, I think one of my problems with the oil is it's not that it so much it burns it as much as it probably only needs about 6.5 quarts now instead of 8.5. And I think that when you overflow these with oil, it just goes out the back, and that's probably what happened. Again, yesterday was not burning at all. My cousin saw it, and he's like, wow, this doesn't burn any oil, diesel, you know. It's like, yeah, well, you know, I got this other oil in it, but at the same time, I put a little oil in it, and it's not good oil, honestly. The stuff I put in was just real quick. I got to go up to it's pretty far to get the Kendall I like with the titanium. So it runs great. The shut-off valve used to give me issues. It wasn't the valve, it's just vacuum pressure. I think the inconsistency of the vacuum pressure is probably somewhere hidden, but I mean, I think it affects the transmission the most. That's why it's like a little inconsistent. It's usually the case, I don't know if you know that with all of them, that usually a problem isn't mechanical, it's vacuum. And I tighten up all the vacuum lines, but I think what happens is once the car warms up, when the weather changes, it gets, you know, compromised in some kind of way, and that's what happens to them. Again, if you drove it and never knew anything about it, you wouldn't even notice. I'm very, very, very picky. This is not the cleanest car I ever owned. I have a family, and I used to have a TT Audi, and like my priorities have changed. I do have that little piece there, that little black square piece that goes around the trunk. The trunk is packed right now with all the goodies from the light. And that would be the molding and stuff there, and I would clean that up, of course. It does bring in a little smoke, I think, now. Sometimes when I'm cruising at higher speeds, I think, coming through the speakers. It goes into the trunk. I don't know why. There's no exhaust leak that I know of. But again, it's really just comfort issues. If you like the diesels and you want to be nasty, this thing just, I mean, it sounds nasty. I mean, I had a kid here buying a dog from us, and he said it's the best diesel he's ever heard. Truck, car, you know, these little Volkswagens and stuff can't compare. And again, if you hold it, I always do a test where I just hold my foot. I can't even just hold it. It just goes right up. And to me, that tells me compression level is good. Let me get that back to you there. I just hold it. I'm not moving my pedal. It just goes up really smooth. So the mileage is, what did I say? 252, right? I hope I did. I hope I didn't put 242. If I did, I'm really sorry. The story with that is, as far as the title goes, the guy I bought it off of, he never told me it was an R title. I didn't notice that until after I bought it. And he had the original dash, which I still have, that was analog, and it had 106,000 miles on it. But he said, oh, you know, the dash on the car says 206. I'm like, yeah, well, the dash on the car is computer, and that reads the computer, and I believe that more than I believe, you know, whatever you're telling me. So my attitude was, well, it's a diesel. These things are known to run. I really don't care. And the title will show 100 and whatever it was when I got it re-registered in, I think it was September or October or August. So you know, that is an issue with the transfer to title. We would have to probably put the numbers that are on the title, but the car actually has 200 something thousand miles. So every time you do inspection, he puts it in as the mileage on the computer thing here. And it is good. Not that it matters, I guess, if you live in New York, how that works, I don't know. You might have to just get it done anyway, but it did pass safety inspection. And we don't have emissions here. So again, I do have the exhaust pieces. I have the muffler, which is in perfect shape, the original muffler, and the original resonator. And again, I was shocked on how small it is. The idle is up a little bit for my pleasure. Doesn't have to be. It's not an issue with running. It's just, I kind of like it here. Now that it's a little louder, it was kind of like, you know, it was just a little low for me. So that's the case there. The dash lights, again, aren't working. I took out the dash, and if the bulbs are the case, which I believe it is, the dash, when you get further in to change the bulbs, somebody stripped the like the Phillips head indentation. I don't know why this phone is doing this, and I can't, the indentation of it, and all of them, and I couldn't get it. So you can see the oil pressure is good. I'm at 2,000 or 2, whatever that is. I don't even know what that means. It's where it's supposed to be, and when you're cruising, it goes up to 3. Temperature almost always stays a little below or right at 80. I do notice if I put thicker oil in it, it'll bump up a little bit. Doesn't overheat. This car is never overheated. I don't know what yours does, but I know on the highway, I got from stock to 32 to 35. They talk about in the manual. Some people debate that. I've done it. I went down to Virginia, and with the stock exhaust, everything complete, I think I might not have had my muffler on. I got 32 miles to gallon, doing a significant amount of my speed and up hills and stuff. When I took the muffler off and I went to my wife's grandmother, I kid you not, I got like 300 something miles in a quarter tank, like a little over a quarter tank, a half, whatever that is. I mean, it was like 40 miles a gallon. It was ridiculous. I should have let that resonator on. And I guess these like back pressure, and it was freed up so much. I did have this thing open up with Alda and the fuel. At one point, it was insane, like insanely fast. I mean, ridiculously fast. Like, I couldn't believe how fast it was. But then the computer, as it should, went into limp mode, shut it down. If I shut the car off and start it back up, it would do the same fast thing again, and then a couple tries, it would stop again. So I got it back down to a really good place, I believe, of fuel mileage still, and a good feel in the pedal. That, I mean, there's days, I'll be honest, it's like, man, car, where are you? And I think it's more my driving. If you get a little anxious on the pedal, maybe it bogs it down or something. But usually, to the touch, this thing, you stop and you go around here. We do like 60, 70 miles an hour here on these country roads. You know, if they're saying 45, it's like a really cool culture out here with cars. They hold on to their cars and they drive them, man. They soup them up and they run them. And locals are like, you know, doing twice the speed limit, but the visitors will come in and do the speed limit, and you think something's wrong. And for the most part, it's somewhat safe. We do have Amish people here we got to look out for. Anyway, I don't beat on it. I mean, it's not like a beater. I take care of this thing. I would probably just, out of peace of mind, change the oil before I sell it to that Kendall, so somebody has it and doesn't just, you know, the light comes on. If the oil light comes on, you're about 3.5 quarts shy. It's not doing that anymore. I'm not getting to that place anymore. And I don't know about you, but these things take a long time for that oil to go back down to where you can read an accurate measurement of where it's at. So you let me know. I don't know what else to really say other than, okay, the negative of this. What happened was the heater thing, the fan was hit or miss. I do have an extra resonator or something it's called, resistor, I think it is. It's aftermarket. I put the factory one back in, and right now it's just, yeah, it's warm coming out, but it's not fan. This thing spins, but then there's times it doesn't spin and it actually acts normal. So I'm not convinced that it's not just the switch got goofy, but these buttons here are all stuck because Einstein me thought, oh, maybe they're dirty and I'll stick some brake cleaner in it. And it literally melted stuff back there. So this whole thing would have to be replaced. One of my favorite features got melted, would have to be replaced. The windows all do work, okay, as they should. Very quiet, no signs of, you know, anything, you know, going on. The backs work as well. The moonroof does not. It was a hit or miss thing, and I'm not sure if it's not the motor or whatever. You know, in fact, you can do it from the back. I've done that and opened it, and it does kind of shut back. It's kind of strange, but again, this car, everything worked when I bought it. Okay. The soft closed doors worked. Sometimes they farted out on me, and I would just take the fuse out and put it back in, and it worked. Don't know what that is. Could be the vacuum issue. I looked at all the vacuum lines and don't know what it is. For me, it's just a driving experience. When I hit 70, 80 on this thing, it feels amazing. The ride itself, it's not like it should be. I believe the shocks, you know, the front shocks, you know, need to be done. I mean, that's what I was at. All right, I'll stick some Bilsteins on and get the bushings on the sway bar link, and there's a little clunk there once in a while when you hit a certain bump. Do all that, and now that guy hit me. He gave me some cash on site. It really wasn't enough, and I have two vehicles, so I'm like, well, you know, I'll just order one of the lenses, and, you know, the whole piece rather needs to be ordered, and be done with it, or, you know, whatever. I don't know. I never let things go mechanically. Aesthetically, because of the children, this has been our everyday driver with our children. And I don't know if you ever got in an accident with one of these things, but when that guy bump me in the back, you don't even feel it. He bounced off me, man. This thing's a tank, as you know. That's the only reason why I want to stick with Benz. I love them, obviously. I'm not going to go new Benz, but they're tanks and they're safe and all that. Oh, that's another thing. Negative hydraulic line does leak slightly. That is controlling your I don't know. I mean, I think it controls just the back. It gives you a bump up, and when that thing's full, the ride's just like it should be. And I think that might have something to do with the shocks. That it might not be the shocks. It might just be that the hydraulic thing doesn't catch like it's supposed to. And handles fine. It's not like dangerous or anything. Your assistant brakes work. Your ABS works. But that's something you have to keep an eye on or possibly replace. It's right at the, I don't know what that is. It's like a little distributor area in the back beneath the driver's side rear door. And I gooked it all up with stuff to try to stop it, and it just kind of doesn't really work. Again, this isn't my normal protocol with cars, but as far as mechanically, transmission, everything, reverse, right there's the light for the thing that's showing the short, which I plan on fixing. That's just, again, putting it in the right position. Goes in reverse. It runs smooth, and then once it warms up, it gives me little rough times and, little, kind of undesirable shifts, basically, but still very smooth. If you jump on it, very smooth 90% of the time. It's just like, it's like certain streets, it's like, wow, the timing, it just doesn't work for this transmission or something. It just kind of shifts a little too soon here and there. So anyway, I babble on. I'm an honest person. I feel like the price is fair, given that there's cars out there that don't even run at this price, that are, I believe, less desirable, have less potential, way less fuel mileage. Anyway, and that's it. I guess I'll talk to you soon.